What?
I don't know. Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello and thank you for watching.
I don't know.
What happened?
I did a big run up and then
Yeah.
I tripped over. I don't know. I looked at you and then
Was I the problem?
No. I think I sometimes I come in with gusto, but I can't sustain it. Can't sustain the.
I couldn't.
We couldn't even start this. Welcome to TOFOP.
Yeah.
This is a podcast that's been running for 15 years.
15 years, despite our level of incompetence.
It's amazing. I was
Isn't
thinking
it?
about the other day. Every time I tell someone, because it's
15
not
years.
uncommon now that you say, "Oh, I've got a podcast." People are like,
Mhm.
"Hey, that's not unusual." But then when I say how long we've been doing it, people are like, "Wow, how come I haven't heard of it?"
I mean, also, there is that thing of it is now we live in a world where no one ever has to explain what a podcast is. In
Thank
fact,
God.
we've got to the world where there are jokes and cliches about what podcasting is, that it has been adapted into popular culture. The biggest stars in the world have their own podcasts.
Podcast.
So-
The definition of podcast has changed now, though, because it involves video. Like I think when people think podcast now, they think of a
Yeah.
studio, two people sitting or more sitting on a comfortable couch in a studio with a fake plant behind them or whatever. That's what a podcast is now.
I mean, podcasts have become so big that presidents are going to be interviewed on podcasts.
Prime ministers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. How come?
Nobody
No one
contacted
wants
us.
to
Nobody
talk
wanted
to
to be
us.
involved in us. No one thought we were the left-wing Joe Rogans.
But I mean, like, is there an equivalent with the advent of any other kind of medium? Like, was there a television show that came on when TV was invented that just hung
Kept
around
going,
forever?
but
Never
was
really
that
got
successful.
never really got huge numbers, but was just there.
But also, when you say never really got huge numbers, back when there were no podcasts,
Yeah,
we were a successful podcast.
totally.
It's just that our level, in fact, over the years, our audience has tended to grow, just very incrementally.
Yeah, it's very slowly.
Like putting your money in like a long-term savings account with like a 1.5% interest growth every year, right?
Well, it's like social media, right?
Yeah.
Like, so people who got onto like Twitter when it first started or Instagram, because I remember talking to Jules Lund about this when he started his business Tribe, which is sort of connecting brands with influencers.
Yeah.
And he was saying like an influencer is anyone with more than 5,000 followers. And I said, oh yeah, like some people I work with on Home and Away have like 500,000 followers on Instagram. And he said, yeah, but a lot of those people just joined at the right time. And everyone was like, oh, people are on this new thing. I'm just going to follow them and follow them. And so he said a lot of those are fake numbers. They have big followings or big numbers, but they don't have influence.
Yeah. They don't have engagement.
Engagement. Yeah. So is that us?
Yeah. We have no engagement.
I do sort of feel though with our audience, there is engagement, but it is so like the show itself.
Yeah.
It's very
Niche engagement.
niche engagement. And, you probably have podcasts that you listen to that you probably wouldn't recommend to other people because you've been listening to for such a long time or there's no easy entry point into it. Would you?
I think that there is an easy entry point into this. I think that people would think this is harder to... I think you could listen to almost any episode of this podcast and immediately understand what is happening.
Okay.
I don't think that you need to know what has happened before to understand.
Yeah, I guess so.
And we don't even have that many sort of running jokes that rely on a reference that you would need to understand. Most of the time, by just listening and understanding the context of the conversation, you would be able to jump in. That said, we are about to do a letters episode, so that one probably means that they are responding to things that have happened on the show before.
Yeah, and so the mailbag is bursting at the seams. This came in...
Letters, I say, by the way. Letters.
Letters.
Because I'm old.
This came in from Mia.
Uh-huh.
She wants to talk about boy
Mamma
bands.
Mia?
No,
Oh,
not Mamma
okay.
Mia. I'm just going to put on my glasses so I can read.
All right.
Guys, been a long time listener. I've never felt the need to write in until Charlie played...
Felt the need.
Until
Okay.
Charlie played his Is J-OK sizzle reel. I really had a really similar experience during COVID. I was doing year 12 in the 2020 Melbourne lockdown. I'm quite a lot younger than you both. Yes,
I was
clearly.
going to say. Either very old for year 12 or very young for our podcast. So year 12 in 2020.
Thanks, Mike. Mike's
Thanks,
just delivering
Mike.
drinks.
Bring it
Oh, I got the
on.
Red Rooster Cup.
Okay. Well,
We've got a lot of letters about that, by the
what
way.
an absolute
In
nightmare
fact,
that'll be.
well, Mia, we'll get back to your letter. This is worth talking about now just because Mike's handed
Okay.
me this drink cup. So we were complaining about the Red Rooster logo.
Yeah.
We got about 400 letters saying, you idiots. Do you not see what the logo actually is? I'm holding it up for the camera as well. Just focus in on what you're looking
Oh,
at.
it's a rooster's face.
It's a
is it?
rooster's face. I would not have picked that if I didn't get 400 letters
I
writing in to tell
mean,
us.
I can see it now
Yeah.
that it is a
Now you
rooster's
see it?
face.
Is that what you're telling me, Will?
Okay, that's the sort of running joke that people will not understand if it's their first episode. You are right, though. I did not know that the backwards and forwards
The R's.
R's,
The RR.
because I suggested that they should be 60/90, I believe, is what I
I
suggested.
forgot that, but now I'm
But
remembering.
they are face to face,
Yeah. I'm going to see
ABBA style,
what a drink tastes like from this.
the Red Rooster Cup. So I will say that I don't mind the fact that it reveals the rooster's face. I actually think that that is quite a clever little thing. That
I don't
they've
think
done
that
with it
looks
as
like a
well.
rooster, though. I think that looks more like a penguin.
Is it a secret reveal that Red Rooster's made a penguin?
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine?
Blowing the lid off it.
It's like, yeah, we ran out of roosters. In fact,
You
we
know what
weren't
tastes-
allowed to use roosters.
You know what tastes really delicious?
Yeah,
Penguin.
penguin.
We were down at Phillip Island one day and we're like, those things look fucking
Oh, they look
delicious.
delicious. And they're tiny. We'll be able to catch heaps of them.
All right, back to Mia's letter. She was doing Melbourne lockdown in year 12. And I
Tough
always
day, by the way.
enjoy you guys trying to decipher Gen Z lingo. What was the last thing we tried to decode when we had Amy? It was S tier. Amy had to explain to us what S tier was.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was
Which we use now.
What's it? Based, or that's based.
Mm.
What does that mean again?
Remember?
Mike based. Good.
Don't look at
Good.
me.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hit rock bottom like a lot of people and somehow went down an extremely similar rabbit hole to Charlie, but with the band One Direction,
Okay.
also created by Simon Cowell. And I found a lot of solace in a band I hated growing up, even though everyone else my age was obsessed with
Yeah.
them. I'm not sure what it is.
One of those guys isn't okay, though,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Liam, poor old Liam.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Not sure what it is about boy bands that gets us through the hard times, but I strangely related a lot to Charlie's 5 obsession. I don't really listen to them anymore. It was just a strange 2 years of my life that seemed to help me get through something horrendous. Yeah,
You
well,
needed direction and you found One Direction.
I think we talked about it
Yeah.
at the time when I was going through my 5 experience. It's the brain bleach, right? Especially during COVID.
What was One Direction's biggest song? Do you know what? Oh, yeah, okay. You know what? Surprisingly,
you are the beautiful, something like that.
you know what, girl? I think you're beautiful, or something.
Like that, yeah. And they had a song that sounded exactly like I Want It That Way as well. It was almost identical chords. But yes, that's the song I remember.
Okay.
What about, is that the end of the question?
No, well, yeah, that was. I
Right.
literally, I didn't. Know, I couldn't name One Direction.
No,
song.
I mean, obviously we're the wrong demographic.
Yes.
Anyway, if you guys are ever bored, I highly recommend researching the creation of fandom behind One Direction as they emerged right as the internet took off.
Oh.
And how they got boxed into personalities as well. You can
Yes.
also spend hours reading Larry fan theories, a theory that 2 members of One Direction, Harry Styles and Larry Tomlinson, were actually secretly in love. That's the kind of fan fiction I'm into. They will unfortunately now never reunite with the recent passing of Liam Payne. It's also really interesting to look at the way the media reacts to girls' obsession with boy bands and pop idols, yet it's perfectly acceptable for guys to yell and scream at a footy match.
Yeah.
Are they equitable comparisons?
I mean, you're just being a fan of something.
I don't
right?
think, but I don't think that footy fans, stand outside the hotel the players are staying at and
Yeah,
scream.
They do, though.
Do they?
Yes. Have you never seen a bunch of like sporting fans as the bus is taking off from a?
Not really.
Oh yeah.
Is it a similar thing?
I mean, I don't think that it is necessarily the experience that happens with everyone, but it doesn't happen with everyone in the world of music either.
Yeah,
it only happens with, if you're the Chicago Bulls or whatever it might be, and you're going away from a basketball, there are fans screaming all over the place.
I remember my older sisters went through a phase of like fangirling bands, but it was not so much that they were into the bands. It was just more a thing to do, like pre-internet, obviously. But like whatever band was touring, whether it was like Bros or Bruce Springsteen or whatever, they would find out what hotel that band was staying
Yeah.
at, and they would go and they would hang out and try and glimpse the celebrity or get a photo or an autograph. It wasn't necessarily about they're obsessed with it. It was like, it's Saturday, we're bored. Let's
And
go.
also, it was a social thing.
Social
You would
thing.
go and meet other, like, girls that your age, and you would all go
Yes.
and hang out and do something.
Yeah, that's right. I think my sister also, she got really into comedy as well. And who was the? It's Pete Rosethorn. I think she was obsessed with Pete
Pete
Rosethorn for a while. Yeah, I
Rosethorn?
remember her.
Really?
She gave him some flowers or something. I think it was her. Maybe it was a friend, but I distinctly remember Pete Rosethorn being. They thought he was pretty cute. Maybe he was on the Comedy Company at the
Yeah.
time, or. But I remember like seeing a photo of like my sister and her friends like after a show with him, him posing with them. It's like,
Well,
it's so funny to think of Cal
Pete
Knight,
Rosethorn as a
like a teen heartthrob.
well, he wasn't Cal, was he? He was
Cal Knight, wasn't
Brett.
Oh, who
Uh,
was Kel? Oh, that
Ca-
Glenn
that's
Robbins.
Glenn
Oh, yeah,
Robbins.
yeah, yeah.
He was Brett. But it's funny. He just did the comedy festival, Pete Rosethorn, and I did a few gigs with him, and he was still as hilarious as he has always been.
Good
Just like
footballer too. I used to
and-
play footy with him in a
and-
little group called the Bangers.
an absolute killer, like stand up still to this day. But in his show, it was so funny. I had a friend say to me, I said, "Oh yeah, I went and saw your show. I really liked it, but." I was like, he said, but there's like a big Kath and Kim quiz in the middle of it. And I just kind of didn't expect that there was going to be like a Brett does a Kath and Kim quiz in the middle of it. And literally, as this person is telling me this story, they are standing in front of the poster of the show, which has a big banner across it that says Kath and Kim quiz. I was like, yeah, I guess there would have been no way that you could have known there was a Kath and Kim quiz in this show that has a banner that says Kath and Kim quiz.
Now, you might remember, Will, a few weeks ago for the Great Lobster Heist episode, someone got AI to create a lobster heist bit of artwork. And there was a very outraged listener to the show who thought that we had given
replaced
Foz the boot.
James Fosdyke and brought in AI.
Yeah, so he's responded. He said, "Hey guys, I am Mitch, the AI outraged Patreon. Yes, I flew off the handle when I saw what I believed to be a legitimate podcast episode artwork and left somewhat perturbed / confused / angry post about it on Patreon. Then I listened to the episode, saw what was really happening, and I sheepishly deleted the post."
I love a sheepish delete.
I mean, you don't have to delete it. I think everyone understood. I mean, I think if anything, it shows integrity, that you were defending Foz and you were cautioning us not to be sucked into the AI.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I'm on your side. If we were doing that, I would expect us to be called out for it. So I actually am not against the principle, but I just would have thought that you might have given us a little bit more
We'll have to
grace
explain
based on everything that we've said about AI and Foz over the years, that maybe that wasn't the direction that we were going in immediately. But I've recently been deleting everything off my social media, and for a whole bunch of different reasons, but one of them is AI related. And it's so funny to go back through like things that are like 10 years old and see somebody like who's written some mean comment or something underneath that later on has been
proven true,
proven to
or-
be true or
Yeah,
whatever,
right.
and the amount of self-control that it takes not to just answer to this thing.
How do you feel about
from
Elon
a
Musk
gen-
now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It is. It's
Yeah.
genuinely that sort of
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
where like we've said something mean about Elon Musk and someone's like, no, he's a genius and he's blah, blah, blah. And you're like, "Argh."
So how do
Trump
you...
will never get in.
Are you or is someone at your management doing it? Are you physically doing
No,
it?
I've been physically doing it.
So how do you do that? Can you not just
delete?
Can't
delete,
you just
delete?
so you can't just nuke your post? You either have to close your account.
Oh
or
yeah, that's
delete
right. So I
individually.
just want to delete like everything that's
Oh,
there.
how
But
painstaking.
it is, but then I'm gonna be like, I'm literally handing over the keys forever to like once it's all sorted out. I'm basically getting the house in order,
Yeah,
and
to
then
sell.
I'm given it to sell. That's correct. Because I have read so many books recently. You know, my favorite genre of books is books that
Terrify you about technology and AI.
yeah, books that basically are smart people saying the things that I suspected but didn't have any of the information for my suspicions.
So give me some bullet points, stuff I should be scared of.
Well, firstly, Careless People is a book that everybody should read. It is a book by Sarah Wynne Williams, who worked at Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And it is, I mean, you know how we all kind of know that Facebook is a terrible company? Yeah, but we don't. Like,
Right.
until you really read one person's account of just how, like, incredibly awful from top to bottom a company like that is. But I've been reading Chris Hayes, who's an American journalist, wrote a book recently called The Siren's Call, which is all about the rise of social media. And it's just, anyway, like all the companies are terrible because we know that Twitter, obviously X, is a terrible company run by a terrible person. Meta, the whole metaverse, is a terrible company run by a terrible person. You have TikTok, which is run by the Chinese government, and it's spyware everywhere. Where is the good social network? There is no good social network. Even people,
It's called the pub, Will.
even people who benefit from social media hate social media. The biggest influencers in the world on social media all hate the fact that they have to be there every day, that the algorithm rewards negative engagement, that
Content.
Facebook, this is what I mean. There's so many things that I could highlight, but Facebook were selling to advertisers the fact that they knew when teenage girls were vulnerable because they would be able to chart things like if they deleted a selfie, that would mean that they were having like a bad body image day, and they would be able to immediately go, okay, well, you can sell them a product for, your diet pills or your blah, 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 what you're able to do. Actually, literally targeting people at their most vulnerable through their algorithms and selling that to advertise. Like, it is some of the most crook stuff you've ever read in your entire life. And the whole system is broken because the way that it works relies on this model by which they all kind of have to be terrible companies.
And it's the genie's out of the bottle. It's too late to regulate. They obviously can't self-regulate.
No. I mean, they don't want to self-regulate. In fact, they will do everything they can in the entire world to tell you that they're self-regulating and they're not self-regulating at all.
That's basically what Meta said this year, right? It's like we're not doing fact-checking anymore or...
No, we're not doing any of that.
Community notes.
Like Mark Zuckerberg literally offered the Chinese leader the right to name his son to try to get into China. Like he was going to give the Chinese government...
Hang on. Let the Chinese government name his son?
Name like
Mark
Zuckerberg's son. He goes, you want to name my son? Because he's so desperate to get into China. Like, he literally was going to say that the Chinese government would have the ability to remove any post they want, monitor everybody, and have the information of anyone who... So that was basically stuff that would lead to someone posting things on Facebook and people being disappeared. Yeah. And he was fine with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
It's great.
Okay.
Social media is great,
listeners
guys.
are worried about us using AI, an AI image.
Yeah. Yeah. My point being, you probably should have known that this podcast of all podcasts weren't immediately going to go to that.
Well, Mitch continues. He said, the funny thing is, I don't post comments on anything on any of the platforms, but this incensed me, again, prematurely, so much I was fired up enough to post about it. As a designer and a writer in the AI firing line, I think this mistake, again, sorry, showed me how sensitive I am to the perils of what we are on the verge of experiencing.
I totally get that, by the way. I was contacted by a advertising company recently who wanted to, like, they had some version of a chat GPT. It wasn't chat GPT, but some version of a thing. And their ad campaign demonstration they wanted to do was, in conjunction with a comedian, write a stand-up show in conjunction with to show what it could do.
They clearly don't listen to the podcast.
I was going to say, I was like, who thought I was the person to contact about this? Oh, anyway, but yeah, so that's already what is happening out there. People have adopted it all so enthusiastically. And it has made, at the moment, everything terrible. You talk about that idea of who are these people who have these followers. About a third of the people engaging on any post online at the moment are all AI.
Yeah.
It's all AI slop. It's all bots. It's bots talking to other bots. And then information everywhere has just become, you can't trust anything anymore.
No.
And so this, like, Google has got worse. How did Google get worse? Remember when you could Google something and you were reasonably sure of the information that was coming along? Now you can't trust anything.
Well, do you remember when, like, the information superhighway will be able to share all kinds of information? There'll be like, we'll be able to update people immediately about the state of the world and the state of affairs. And we just didn't stop to think that
Do we need to be?
Well, but also to think that that could be a double-edged sword, that you can update the world on stuff that is true and untrue in an instant.
And also, do we need to know all this stuff?
No. Well, they talk about that social dynamic thing, right? That you are, the way we've evolved is we can't possibly have groups larger than, what is it, like it's something like 80 people within your immediate vicinity. You can't have relationships beyond that. Yet now we're having these pseudo relationships with people online in the thousands or sometimes millions for some people. That can't be healthy.
But also this idea that we even need to have all that information. I think just in my own life, there's only so many things that I can actually know about.
Yeah.
And when you're concentrating on all these things that are happening all over the world that you can't affect in any way, I'm not even sure that's information you need to have.
But don't you love doing a kind of like a deep dive or going in a rabbit hole on a topic and, hyperlink here and a hyperlink there and, oh, hang on, we just talked about Woody Harrelson's dad last episode. Let's Google that.
I think there's something different to that, to the infinite scroll, right? So the idea of, like, here's a topic, I would like to go and be able to research this topic and find reliable information on this topic is a good thing.
Yeah.
The idea that you can just go on and flick and flick and flick and then suddenly it's 2 hours later and you didn't really learn anything that was necessary for you to learn. It was just stuff that was packaged as if it was necessary to learn. You flicked past 8 recipes and never cooked anything. You read 1,000 tweets and you could have read a book in the same amount of time and actually learned something.
And it is that kind of dopamine release, right? Like it's the
it's the
pokies.
Yeah.
It's funny
Which is
though,
all
is
on
I don't like the
purpose.
pokies,
No.
but I do like
Turns
flicking
out if they
through
use
Instagram.
that same, but it's the same thing as I don't like heroin. I've never tried it, but I don't like heroin. But if they put the addictive, quality of heroin into something that I already liked, then this is what it is meant to do. It is meant to make you addicted to what is going on.
It's funny too, because you think about the future or it's hard not to think in absolutes, like it's all going to lead here or it's all going to end badly or it's all going to explode or blow up or whatever. But that's just not how things happen.
No.
It just, things will deteriorate potentially or just disperse in 1,000 different directions. We're never going to have back what we once had.
There is a chance that the internet will never be good again.
Yeah, but will something else rise? And probably. We couldn't have anticipated the
whatever's
internet.
going to happen with AI, however that's going to affect the world, is the next thing that's going to affect us.
Yeah.
So
I'm
did
not
you see
saying
the
in a good
gig?
or a bad way, but
Did you do the AI comedy gig or not?
what are you talking about? Don't even joke about this. We'll get more emails from listeners.
I can't believe
that Will did a stand-up gig with a stand-up and it was an AI.
Mitch, we're not having a go at you.
No.
He continues, I think I was having a strong reaction because Charlie had sent a message when it was announced that Foz was retiring. He wasn't retiring. No. We were saying that we were retiring the artwork.
The weekly artwork.
We still,
yes.
Would love to work with Foz in the future, of course.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
the coffee table book is coming at some point.
And if you
Let's
do
pull
want
my
to
finger out.
help us do that, Patreon is the place to go because obviously it's all reliant
All the
on how
artwork-
much money comes in.
And all that artwork's there.
Yeah.
With an offer to do some of the art in the episodes. I got no response. And then I saw the AI, and so I mistakenly thought it was used instead. So that's why I got angry. Hey, mate, we didn't reject you.
No.
It's fine.
But also, I get it. I get the idea that you would see something like that and immediately. One of the things that we did a couple of episodes of Gurun Nation.
Yeah.
Well, we've done one so far, but by the time people hear this, we will have done a couple of episodes of Gurun Nation, which you can find on ABC iView. And one of the things that we played was an ad that was made where they'd used AI to recreate Anthony Albanese's voice, either the Prime Minister of Australia or the former Prime Minister of Australia, depending on. We don't know. So it was so he's at a press conference, and then it's his thoughts as he's being asked the question, oh my God, I don't want to be asked about this. And it's in his voice. They used AI to do it. Now, in this instance, you clearly know that it is a joke, right? Or it's not real because it's in his thoughts. But the voice is accurate enough that if it were a phone call telling you that I'm going to do a deal with the Greens, or in America, what happened was they got a Joe Biden AI voice to ring people and tell them not to vote on a particular day and to vote on another day, which was misleading and trying to get people to not come out for the proper vote. So people knew that that one was not real because couldn't finish the sentence.
But also at some point, why is Joe Biden calling me? You know, has he not got
like a
staffers?
robocall. It wasn't it was a robo call.
Well, listen here.
Yeah.
Don't vote on Thursdays. You're going to be no one there. Okay.
Is that Joe Biden?
Yeah,
Is that your Joe Biden?
Yeah, hang on, there we go. No, I'm not mucking around. Come on, Joe Biden.
Is that your Joe Biden?
No, get in my Corvette.
What are you? Do you know who Joe Biden is? Because I don't know who you're doing an impression of, but it's definitely not Joe Biden.
It's hard to be the man of 1,000 voices on this show. You
And
do
then
a
I
voice.
got in my Corvette.
Doesn't he drive a Corvette or something?
Joe Rogan, are you thinking?
No,
of?
Joe Biden. He's famous for having like a sports car.
Is he?
Yeah, he's got like a
Yeah,
Corvette.
Isn't he not allowed to drive? They're not allowed to
oh.
drive ever again.
I was going to say, I wouldn't have thought he
It
was
is-
able to drive.
I mean, look, who knows where the world will be by the time this episode comes out. But watching, like, Trump's recent interviews, when we're recording this, he's just celebrating his 100 days in office. And to see, like, that the last two leaders of the most powerful country in the world have clear onset dementia. Like, it's fucking crazy, right? That there is that nothing is being done about it, that you've got a guy in there who thinks that, MS-13 tattoos aren't Photoshop, like that. It's crazy. Like
But it's not even that. I mean, well, it is partly that they are, yes, suffering some sort of cognitive.
just they're also
decline.
old.
That's what I mean.
yeah.
It's just they're being detached from what modern things can do also, right? Because if you don't understand, and this is the problem with AI or whatever, is that if you are up to date on what is going on, you know what tricks to look for. But the reason that so many people are falling for scams is because that people aren't like up to date with what is possible for people to do. So when they see a Photoshop of or whatever, they're like, well, that must be the real photo.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit that I still feel like I can sense or AI art. I still think you can sort of tell, especially if it's especially video moving image. But it's definitely going to get to a point where you won't be able to. And then I'm like, well, am I? How am I going to discern anything?
There was recently a couple
I
that were
can't
in the
even see
paper
if I take my
who
glasses off.
like had lost a huge amount of money in a scam because they thought that Eddie Maguire had like recommended this company or this business because they had basically deepfaked Eddie Maguire online and made it sound like he was recommending this business.
Like a
And
video of
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
so that is already happening.
Yeah.
And completely unregulated because there's no way to regulate it if the companies themselves don't want to regulate it. Because the other thing is, because of the algorithm, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. There was a point where we were all seeing at least the same stuff.
There's objective
And so
reality.
then you could say,
Yeah.
all right, well, we're all, even like to put it in an election sense, let's just say, like, so you would drive past the same billboard that had the same slogan, and then we'd all be able to say, is that true or not true? You'd hear the same TV ad or radio ad, and you'd be able to say, is that true or not true? But the two of us could be living in the same house, wanting to vote for the same political party, and the two of us would get specifically targeted messages based on what they have from our search histories, our age, our jobs, etc., decided would be most motivating to us. So we're not even seeing the same messages. And that's happening with news and information and these rabbit holes. So you get to the point where you can't even fight the disinformation because you're not aware that the disinformation is happening. Because
Yeah.
on my feed, it's not.
Yeah, and also to the idea of the engagement relating to rage bait and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like the stuff that's going to.
That negative engagement is a driving factor
Yeah.
of the thing.
I was reading this article. This person was it's a slow dopamine activities, like the idea of bringing back things like gardening or things that we used to do pre-internet that would give us a dopamine release, but much like I guess a low GI film of food, rather than giving us a sugar hit.
Yes.
It's a slow dopamine release. So you're not kind of like, oh, that was a good hit. I need to scroll to the next picture. Like it, and I was reading and it was giving examples of all these things you could do. And it's like, it's all like handiwork or gardening, cooking, crafting, fixing cars, that kind of stuff. And I was reading going, oh, that stuff sounds fucking hard and boring. Like, I feel like my attention span for watching films, reading books, all that stuff it's so hard for me to get through a book these days.
Yeah.
Because
Isn't it great that they have invented a thing that is both the cause and solution to the problem that you have? They have ruined your attention span, and therefore their product is the only thing that you're going to enjoy with your attention span.
yeah, I mean, where's it going to end up? I keep saying, like I just said, there's no.
I think
absolutes,
maybe
but
we've got to start dropping this podcast into places where people will negatively engage with it. We've gone the wrong direction in the past where we've wanted positive engagement.
But who would we piss off the most if we had to like rage bait?
I mean, I think like people would love to call us cucks and simps and
I guess if there's a
beta
real
boys
alpha.
and
So
like,
if we went to that bro podcast world,
the manosphere.
The
We need to
manosphere.
start dropping this in the manosphere and then become the whipping boys of the manosphere.
but I don't think we're not overtly anything. Like I think you know, like
Peptides are dumb.
I believe in feminism.
Eating just meat is sad.
You can go to the gym if you want, but it's not like necessary.
Yeah, it's not your personality, mate. Maybe just, I don't know. Psychedelics are fine, but they're not.
I got this email from Lewis. He gave me heads up. This is more of a kind of housekeeping thing for me. Because I often, once we do a bulk record, Michael send me the files and I'll schedule them into the YouTube. But apparently 1 month I just put everything up. So
Everything
there
up
was
at once.
there was a bunch of people who were getting episodes real early and stuff. So he just flagged that. So thank you for that. He said, now, I don't want to be a tattletale, but there's probably not too many taking advantage of what you did. I'm assuming it's unintentional. I honestly just wanted an excuse to message you guys and thank you for your content. Hey, see, this is not rage. It's nice. You've usurped.
Usurped.
You've usurped Broden Kelly's footy podcast in my life.
Oh.
Probably the first time that's ever
Sorry.
happened. Someone's gone from
One
Broden to
back
us.
this way.
I feel like we've been the gateway to
Yeah.
Brodens. I don't know how many have gone the other. And it's come as a time when it was particularly needed. I'm sure you get loads of messages like this, but for whatever reason, I particularly felt the need to express gratitude as you guys are great. And as a
Can I just say too that Broden and I, there's one particular person on the website, Twitter, well, formerly known as Twitter, X, that both Broden and I have a bit of a fascination with. And occasionally when this person goes on a big rant, as they are prone to do around particular issues, I will be alerted by Broden to the fact that it is happening, and I will have to find my password and dip back in to have a look because the two of us are just obsessed by this one person.
he says that he was a big fan of Blue Healers,
Oh.
especially the Tom Croydon Getting Dark and the Glass House. So my life has gone full circle.
Wow, okay.
P.S. I hope the Unexplained Explained get some more stuff this year. Yes, I'm just trying to work out with Ben when we can record those.
Great.
P.P.S. I didn't want to send this email after St Kilda beat Geelong, but I've always got the toe poker of 2009. You do. And P.P.P.S. Mike, your timing of the Crack That Pack music might be my favourite thing on the pod.
Oh.
Never stop. So a bit of love for
never,
Mike the
never
Third
stop,
there.
never stopping.
Never stop stopping. What do we got here?
I don't know.
Oh, well, on the topic of Crack That Pack.
Oh yeah.
Crack That Pack. It's from Daniel. I'm a big new fan.
What just happened then?
Oh, here we go. There's
We've never
another
done that
gateway.
before.
This guy's found TOFOP philosophy.
Oh.
Huh?
Yeah, well,
There you go.
that's what we were hoping might happen by putting it in the same feed. Finally, we've got one to listen.
Even though I'm an
It took
NRL
14
guy.
months, but we did it.
Yeah, that's okay.
We've got one.
We've got one. Get another one next year.
Even though I'm a big NRL fan, Two Guys, One Cup is fascinating for me.
Okay.
But I'd like to suggest a Crack That Pack bracket series to find the best biscuits. So I guess what he's saying is, should we start like categorizing now and declare one winner?
In each sort of category. Is that
I
what we're
guess
saying?
so.
Yeah.
Or brackets. So it's like a best chocolate biscuit, best cream filled.
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah. Not right now, but as a sort of.
I think we're going to forget the biscuits we've tried soon enough. I'm already like going, oh, fuck, have we had that one?
It's true.
I brought in the barbecue shapes one day.
But I don't mind
and people got shitty about
I don't
that.
mind an idea that we could like kind of narrow it down to say a top, like what you like World Cup style.
Yeah.
That there's like like a 20 or 30 or whatever the number is that we get, and then we kind of up against each other round by round. So it's like, you might have your, like, I don't know, Kingston, for example, and your Kingston's going up against your barbecue shape round one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and then
yeah,
like
yeah.
the winner goes through to play the winner out of the.
I think Josh Earl used to do something like that on his socials. He used to do like with chocolate bars and stuff. He'd do like a round robin, and people,
Yeah.
and then he'd come up with
Yeah, so
one
we could
winner.
do like a head-to-head sort of competition
Okay. all
to
right.
find the greatest biscuit.
Speaking
I
of
don't mind that.
speaking
I
of
definitely
biscuits,
suggested that the first week we did.
Is that right? Have you written in under an alias to the mailbag?
No,
Well,
no,
Are
he's
you
an
our
don't-
one?
don't- don't listen to
NRL
me.
fan.
Don't listen to me. Listen to Liam.
Wow, I mean,
Liam suggests it.
Speaking of
Liam,
biscuits,
the other part of my name, sounds sus.
this came from Trina. Hey, I think I might be one of your only listeners in Ethiopia.
Oh, yeah.
So hello from here. I'll try to get you guys into the medical folks of Addis Ababa to keep them laughing here. Okay, the doctors of Addis
Yeah.
Ababa. But my story comes from Belgium. We're going
Okay.
all over the
This is
globe with
good,
this
I like
letter.
it.
I just finished listening to your hilarious episode about Biscoff and thought I'd share another detail for Charlie's excellent coming doco. I lived in Belgium for a long time when I first started listening to you guys. The home of Biscoff, which all Belgians call speculoos.
Speculoos.
Isn't it a speculum what you stick up your bum or something? Anyway, okay. Speculum, isn't that what so doctors can see if you got bowel cancer? Okay, moving on.
A speculum is a medical instrument that makes it easier for you to for a provider to see inside hollow parts of the body,
There you
like your vagina.
go. Was close. So why would you call
mean,
your
that is
biscuit
just-
a speculoos? It's you know what I mean? It's a bit different language, of course. What is going on?
I don't know.
Speculus is a biscuit originally manufactured in
Oh, yeah.
Belgium,
It's
made
speculum.
from
Yeah.
wheat flour, candy syrup, from beet
Yeah, it's
sugar.
Biscoff.
fat.
Yeah, okay.
That bit I understood.
Mhm.
In 2008, there was a bit of a scandal in Belgium over the Biscoff spread
Oh.
because two teams on a show called The Inventors, a bit like Shark Tank, both presented a version of the cookie spread. The Lotus Company bought out the patent for one of the inventors
Oh.
had for his invention
Yes.
and then marketed the hell out of it. But the other mobs sold their product too, sparking a huge lawsuit. There's heaps more in this article in the controversy. Should we have a quick look at
Yes,
this?
let's
This
have a
from-
look. I'm into
oh,
it.
hang on, New York Times. I'm not going
Oh.
to be able to read it. No, they're not letting me read it.
Okay.
Sorry, unless one of you is a sub to New York Times.
I
Yeah,
am,
send
but
it
I
over.
can't.
I'll sort it out.
Okay, I'll forward this. To Mike
What's the
now.
headline? I'll just Google it. What's the headline?
The headline is "A Cookie Paste Squeezed in the Middle of a Debate." It's not a very good headline. A cookie paste squeezed in the middle of a debate. While you're looking that up, Mike, I'll just go to the next letter, which is my fat fingers. Here we go. Hey, Will and Charlie, I'm writing in for my chance to get some free shit.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
I've only been listening for the past couple of years, but I have 9 thoughts as listed below.
Okay, great.
Thought number 1.
Okay.
I'm not a medical professional. However, I do currently work as a dirt doctor in geotech, and I'm studying civil engineering while I work.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds impressive.
The planet is on life support.
Yeah.
so-
I guess, yeah, medical. Yeah, I'll take that.
okay.
Yep.
Number 2. My housemate and I have just recently bought tickets to Will's improv show in
Oh.
Sydney in July.
Okay.
So I am one almost engineer who is already here and there.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right, 2.
getting
Good,
quantum,
good. Yep,
big
I like
quantum
this.
physics on us.
Uh-huh.
3. I've been a fan of anything of Will's since before I started listening to TOFOP and had never heard of Charlie or seen Charlie before. Okay, we've
All
done
right,
this.
well, that's it.
Okay.
That's the end of that.
It was a while after I started listening before I looked Charlie up, and I must say he did not look like what I thought he would. He did not look like what I thought based on how he talks. Charlie, you are an intriguing person.
Yeah. Because you sound like a real dum-dum. But
Massive contradictions. You look like a fucking idiot. Those two things, although similar, are not the same. As someone born in 2001, God, we've got some young listeners. Maybe this is how
Good.
we keep going. For
Yes.
that's why we keep unearthing new listeners. How is that possible?
Well, I discovered something during the Melbourne International Comedy Festival when I was doing my improvised show.
Right.
Because obviously there was my 29th year at the festival and I hadn't, normally you play a big venue, you don't get to really talk up close to your audience. And like you I just heard a lot of stories of people going, oh, I've been here for 27 of the 29 shows, those sort of stories, which was just incredible to me. But the thing that I really discovered was people going, oh yeah, we used to come, but now like we bring our kids as well, and they've got the interview. And I've started to realize that my entire career may be a pyramid scheme. I'm not sure that I'm attracting anyone new from the outside. It is just people passing it on as a legacy to the next generation. But what I've also noticed is the things that I am into, sort of like old school media records, etc., it feels like things that they're coming back in again
Oh, yeah.
and becoming cool again.
Yes.
I wonder if we might have just like we're getting to the point where we've pushed through to the point
Gone
where
full
we could be
circle.
like retro.
Because all we do is the
Could we be
podcast.
adopted by younger people?
Yeah,
as a
like
bit
I just
of
want to
a-
listen to
yeah.
a podcast. You don't watch a
Yeah,
podcast,
I don't
man.
want to, mate.
Go fucking
I'm
watch
not a-
Joe Rogan
yeah.
if you want that. No, I
I'm
want to
not a
listen to a
podcaster.
podcast.
I want to
Yeah.
use my imagination and then be surprised when I Google what one of them looks like.
As someone born in 2001, you guys have helped educate me on stuff from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s culture, and my older friends are now quite impressed with how much I know.
Great.
5. Furthermore, thank you guys for introducing me to the Hoodoo Gurus. They are now my second favorite band. Which
Who's
begs
your
the question,
favourite
who's
band?
the favorite band?
Who's your favourite band?
Who gets?
That's like the guy who once said to me, "You're my second favourite comedian."
Was it Carl Barron? Was his most favorite?
No,
Okay, it wasn't a
Rodney
football. Wasn't a
Rude.
footballer. Was it
It's
really?
Rodney Rude,
Was it really?
definitely. Yes.
I hate to be a sperm. All right. Number 6, despite Will's advice, I have recently begun listening to the old episodes starting from episode 1.
Oh.
All he says is, it is
That's
it
not
is
the advice.
fascinating.
Is that the advice?
That's the opposite of my advice. Yeah.
He says it's fascinating. That's all he
Okay.
says, which is a bit, I mean, fascinating could be good and bad, right? Like a scientist
Yes.
watching like something terrible might also describe that as fascinating to see the
Yes.
degradation of like a...
But I will say, as I say to anyone who starts listening from the start, if there's anything that we've invented or some business that we came up with or whatever it might be that later on turned out to be true, please note it down
Yeah.
because they're fun things for us to know about.
Number 7, you guys mentioned not watching the Russell Crowe film Land of the Bad. Do you remember the one I was saying where he's in a headset? Like they obviously filmed it like all Russell Crowe's scenes in 4 days because he's just in a control room wearing
I
a
haven't
headset.
seen it,
Okay,
no.
but we talked about it in the show.
Mm.
I watched it recently and I found it surprisingly good. Also, if you haven't watched Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, that is also quite good.
I
And there's a
have
sequel
watched that.
coming out later this year. I've heard it's good. Is it fun?
It's John Wick with Bob Odenkirk.
That seems weird.
Or Taken with Bob Odenkirk.
Right. Is it
Or-
comedy action or
Nah,
just
it's action.
What a weird choice to cast him
He's
in
good,
that
though.
role. Yeah.
He works. It works.
I have a theory.
It works as the ordinary man. Like in a way that, say, Liam Neeson doesn't really feel like an ordinary man. He can play it a bit, but like Bob Odenkirk, you really do look like, oh, yeah, here's this guy who's this like accountant or whatever he is. Like in
I think comedians, or at least comedy actors, when they switch to drama, it's easier. Like if you can do comedy, comedy's way harder than doing straight drama. If you're a really good comedic actor and then you can do drama, it's a walk up, I reckon, because comedy normally sort of deals in sort of tragedy, walks on the edge of tragedy anyway. So you're accessing emotions. It's just what you're presenting it in a different way, or you're presenting with an oblivious nature. You know, when you're doing comedy, like a funny character doesn't know he's being funny. Like Will Ferrell sort of commits to being a man-child, and that's
yeah.
what makes it funny.
There's no wink.
There's no wink. But then when you want to give that like a serious kind of tone, it's like, well, you take away, or you give that character awareness. He's aware that his life sucks and he's a man-child, and suddenly it becomes there's a lot of gravitas to that.
His book, Bob Odenkirk's book, Comedy, Drama, I believe it's called, is one of the best written. I mean,
think
he's
you've
a
mentioned
great.
this before.
He's a great comedy writer, but it is honestly one of the best written autobiographies I've ever read.
Yeah, okay. Number 9. No, hang on. What are we at? Number 8. I love listening to Crack That Pack. The discussion of so much chocolate can make me feel sick. It is confusing to how anyone can like chocolate, as I still find it disgusting.
Oh,
That's your...
crack that pack.
Is it time for Crack That Pack?
I mean, we could crack it. Why don't we
I've
just
got-
crack it while we're here?
Yeah, I got one more point.
Yeah, you can keep going with the points. I'll just crack the pack.
This is the last one anyway. I will finish off with a Crack That Pack suggestion. A friend of mine recently had a short stay at a mental health hospital, and there were small packets of biscuits available everywhere. The brand was called Caterer's Choice. And if you're able to get your hands on some of these, it'd be good to know if, in your professional opinions, you guys think these biscuits are good enough for people who are already in a dark place.
Yeah, no, that's a fair. Because you do want life-affirming biscuits
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're in a dark place,
Imagine
right?
getting a fucking
That
golden
golden
gay
gay time.
time or the fucking strawberry Tim Tam. Terrible.
All right, so today's Crack That Pack.
Yeah.
I've never seen this brand
No,
before.
we've had Alina.
Oh, we've had Alina's
Yep,
before,
yep,
have we?
yeah, yeah.
What did we have from
I
Alina's
can't-
last time?
Can't remember.
Well, this is Alina's Bakehouse. It says new and improved recipe. It's a mini cookie, honey butter mini
I
cookies.
think we had that. I think Alina's were those terrible strawberry
no,
yo-yos.
really?
Remember those
Yes.
pink yo-yo biscuits?
Oh
I'm
no!
not sure.
Baked to golden perfection, Alina's Bakehouse honey butter mini cookie are the perfect combination of rich, creamy butter and real honey.
Oh, this is weird. I'm not looking forward to it just from the description.
Crispy on the
alone.
outside and buttery on the inside. These Moorish mini cookies offer a malt in your mouth,
Malt?
a malt in your mouth experience.
Did they literally write malt in your
Oh
mouth?
no, it says melt. I just don't have my glasses on. Experience that is simply irresistible. I honestly thought that was a fun pun, but it turns out I just didn't have my glasses.
You're like, oh, there's some malt in it. No.
Speaking of
Yeah.
mold, while you're cracking it,
Yeah.
that New York Times article. So
Oh, yeah.
Lotus bought out that winner. Then they
Yeah.
tried to sue everyone else who was trying to make Biscoff style cookies.
Oh,
and
yes.
the judges said you cannot patent Biscoff style cookies. And now
Hmm.
everyone's starting a Biscoff cookie and they're spreading all over.
Oh,
Oh,
like sriracha.
What do you mean?
Well, everyone had their own version of sriracha sauce because he didn't.
He didn't copyright it.
No, but he didn't on purpose.
Okay. Now,
All right, so they're little,
Alright.
they're mini biscuits.
yeah.
they're
Okay.
mini cookies.
Look
it
very
says.
crumbly.
It says artisan style mini cookies. So it's one bite for a cookie. I just thought something kind of plain, like a bit more sort of plain and simple might be the go.
I'm a fan.
Okay, I'm going to give it a go then.
You know what it reminds me of? Because you don't often get honey flavored biscuits. Tiny Teddies. Did you ever have a honey flavored Tiny Teddy? Yeah, Will's nodding too. This is a good Crack That Pack. Really good texture. Not
Buttery.
buttery, not overpowering in terms of like the sweetness of the honey. I reckon that's
Very much like something you would have as a biscuit base on like a fancy, like a cheesecake or like it's something
very
like that.
Moorish. And the size is genius because that's like, oh yeah, I'll go back for another one of those.
Yeah, I can have one of those.
Honey
like-
butter.
Mm.
Oh, well done, Alina. I mean, maybe they weren't the raspberry yo-yos then, because that was a good quality biscuit.
Yeah. Okay.
I ain't hating that at all. That's good to. as far as I'm
What do
concerned.
you reckon they consider to be one serve for the purpose of, measure? You know, when they say on the packet, like one serve is so and so calories. How many of these mini cookies do they consider?
Is it by
one
weight
serve?
or by?
Well, I assume it is, but they say by cookie. They give it the approximate. They've got the
4.
little higher.
6.
7. Apparently, one serve
7
is
of
7 of
those.
those.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many calories in the serve?
Oh.
Here we go. Oh yeah.
Well, I can't imagine any of them are particularly healthy.
No, that's all right.
But-
It's not too bad. It's 260 kilojoules, 2060 kilojoules. Not bad. That's all right. You know what? Well, it's not about. There's no good food. There's no bad food. There's just food. And you try and eat more of the good stuff than the bad stuff, but don't deny yourself anything. That's my philosophy these days.
Yeah, put that in the manosphere. People will hate that.
I'll fucking hate that. If you're fat, it's
Yeah.
because you've got no
Yeah,
self-control.
you
You can't be
You
trusted.
cuck. Get to the gym.
That's so fucking weird. Mike, where are we at? Have we got time for one
Time.
more letter, or should we go?
Yeah, another letter. Yeah, 48 minutes.
All right. Okay. We'll just finish on one more letter. In fact, we might have to do another mailbag episode
Mm.
because we haven't even scratched the
That's
surface.
good though. I
on the
don't mind that.
correspondence.
Let's do another one.
No, I'm just glad that people are still engaged with the show, that they want to write to us. In the 4 weeks we have between recordings, I'm always nervous that no mail will come in. It's like, oh, that's it. Will, we're done. No one listens anymore.
Well, it doesn't mean that no one's listening. It just means that we're doing nothing that people want to engage with.
All right. This is from Lauren.
Mhm.
It's a bit longer, but she needs your advice.
Okay.
Hey guys, I started listening to TOFOP around episode 10 back in the day. Led to it from loving Will and his Triple J days, and huge fan of you both. 2 Guys, 1 Cup is my perfect combination of footy and footy adjacent nonsense. You guys have got me through some tough times, and I would do a terrible job at a coherent sentence if I ever met you in real life. I have so many of the merch shirts that I still have the original TOFOP poster with Kathy Bates,
Oh my God.
along with so many other, and then your Kathy Bates jokes from back in the day, along with so many other things. I'll need to listen to remember them. I don't need to listen to remember them. It's all going to be, all this artwork is going to be framed and hung in my library when I move into my new house later this year. Anyway, I don't know why I felt I had to explain my fandom, but it seemed appropriate as I wanted to ask a question I have for Will. I'm about to leave my job of almost 18 years, and people often send an email around their last day. I've been thinking about what I want to write, and the gist is for people to be kind to each other. A long time ago, I read or heard him talking about working at Gruen. I think, and I'm keeping in mind that it's everyone's day at work, not just him as a presenter, but the makeup artist, the cleaner, the writers, the camera operators, everyone. And that keeping that in mind was part of his job as a producer to make sure it was a good day at work for everyone and not to be a diva or something. I can't remember exactly, but the idea burrowed into my brain. It's been my guiding light at work for years to be kind and to put some positivity into everyone's day. I was going to give him a shout out in my email, in the words of Will Anderson, but then realized I might be completely misrepresenting him, and that was a terrible idea. Hence my essay of a message. If it's possible to find out if I'm on the right track, that would be amazing. But also, if not, at least I've had the chance after all these years as a teabagger to say thank you. Thank you so much for what you do. I miss That's Awesome. It was probably one of the happiest days I had when you came back to TOFOP Charlie. I'm so happy for your career opportunities on Home and Away, but you guys reuniting was amazing. Absolutely love hearing stories of your life with Iona. I'm Scottish and I lived in Adelaide since I was 11, so her name always reminds me of home. Oh, that's nice. You guys are the best. Feel so lucky to have listened to you for so many years. All right, so what do you reckon? Referencing, should she reference, as Will Anderson always says in her farewell letter?
So I will so Ted
Can I eat one
you
more?
can eat one more. You can eat one more.
While you finish the show.
I'll explain So when I first started doing the Glass House on the ABC, the producer of the Glass House is a guy called Ted Robinson. Ted Robinson is a legendary Australian television producer. You know, everything from The Big Gig to The Late Show to Good News Week and a whole bunch of other incredible shows as well. Ted was the producer of The Glass House, who gave me my first opportunity to host a TV show. And one of the things that he explained to me very early on was he said, remember that like everything is focused around you and it will seem like you're the most important person here. And everyone's day is kind of set up to serve you in a lot of different ways. But remember, it's everybody's day at work. The way that you behave with the people in the makeup, that's how when they go home and their partner asks them, what was your day at work like today? They will. You have an opportunity to contribute to how they answer that question, and it is a really good thing to remember. And particularly, I think often if you are the performer in the room, you're normally probably getting paid more than the people who are surrounding you. They're doing longer hours than you. No one's bringing them a cup of coffee when they feel like getting a cup of coffee. So it's sometimes a hard thing to remember that it's everybody's day at work, but I try to take it outside of just my work. I try to take it into the world as often as I can. I haven't always been incredibly successful at it, and I think that the times where I feel most disappointed in myself are the times when I have forgot to remind myself that the person I'm dealing with is all in their day at work, or that I could affect their day at work by just a kinder smile or more eye contact or bothering to get off my phone while I pay for the thing. Sometimes those things feel like they're very small, very incidental to, like this morning when I was getting a coffee, I was like receiving like a message about this podcast at the same time, about the timing of this podcast. But, I went to the effort of like putting the phone down, getting the coffee, looking the guy in the eye and saying thank you and like, hope you have a nice day. And I still think that that is an important thing to do every day, because maybe that one moment doesn't change the day, but it doesn't hurt. And it certainly doesn't make the day worse. And sometimes that's all that you can do. So that is the background of the story. If you would like to quote me, I am fine for you to quote me. You can quote Ted Robinson, who was the person who actually said it to me in the first place. So that would be maybe even a better person to quote in that regard. But I do think it is probably the best piece of advice that I've ever, at least if it's not the best piece of advice I've ever got in my entire life, it is the piece of advice that I come back to most.
Yeah.
in my life.
And you want a happy workplace. And Mike, where the fuck are our coffees, you piece of
Yeah,
shit?
get us a fucking coffee.
Bloody hell.
We'll replace you with another mic.
Hurry up, desk
Yeah.
monkey.
We've killed 2 other mics already, mate, so we're willing to kill another one.
Once again, thank you for listening. If you want to support the show,
You eat those strawberry Tim Tams.
the best way to still do that is Patreon. Patreon.com/everyone relax. Heaps of great content there. Ad-free episodes, full videos of TOFOP and Two Guys, One Cup. Will is on tour. You can get
Comedy.com.
all that information at comedy.com.au. We'll be back next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Crack that pack.
You're fired.